Hi, everybody. So, Kelly and I are here together, and she's my favorite astrologer. And we're going to be talking about the new moon, the energies. And I just want to bring up a few things before we get started. So, we are moving out of 3D and into 5D. That means there's many timeline shifts. And that was illustrated yesterday by ex-president or retired president Jimmy Carter passing away again. So that happened last year and now it's happened again. And things are shifting quite a bit. So keep that in mind. And I did bring up in my last little short video about how when you manifest, when everybody is concentrated on a certain date because it's been predicted that something's going to happen on that day, that so many thoughts come at that date that are incongruent. And we also anchor that date to ourselves because we have expectation, which creates quantum entanglement, that that date no longer works for what we wanted it to. So it's important to let go and let God, basically. Let go and let the universe handle it for us. And I'll be honest, there were so many things that were happening up into 2022 and the beginning of 2023, probably mid 2023, that had to do with the spiritual, argument in the cosmos, because there are certain words I don't want to say on YouTube, um, that were not resolved until mid 2023. So we really didn't start to grow as much until that happened because we're consciousness in a body. And basically, that consciousness had to work a lot of its stuff out before we would progress like we wanted to. Because you have a human consciousness and you have a big soul. So the big souls had to work out all their junk with each other as far as like how they were rubbing up against each other in a polarized way before big progression started. And it really did start at the end of, the last half of 2023. Progression really pushed forward. And in 2024, it has really pushed forward. So we are on the road to big change. And I'm excited because Kelley has put together for us a beautiful way to explain that. Because remember, the stars are the map, and that map is given from certain soul groups. And basically, it changes as it needs to for us so that we have an idea of what's happening. So, anyway, I'm very excited to see this because to me, it's like, I think that it's given quite a while ahead because souls know where we're going, even if we're flipping timelines. And the astrology is a beautiful, like, roadmap. And I love that because it's been created for us because everything is a matrix. And these are beings that we're looking at up there. So, how are you, Kelley?
I'm good, with the alive energies of the cosmos, guiding and supporting us. It's it's a new moon of the new year. And honey, I love what you were saying. Two things caught my ear. One was the spring of 2023. That is when the planet Pluto first went into Aquarius. And then it went back into Capricorn. So Pluto is one of the slow moving planets, 248 years to go around the sun and through all the zodiac signs. So it doesn't change sign very often, but it did in March of 2023. So it went into a new sign for the first time since 2008 and was in Aquarius for the first time since something like the 1790s.
Wow.
If we can use that time frame, you know. So so the energy started to open up, but Pluto, you know, kind of transitions back and forth a bit, and it just finally went into Aquarius and moving forward will not go back into the former sign that was breaking down all the systems and structures of our reality and of the
Mhm.
powers that be or the powers that now were. So this happened on November 19th, just like a month ago. So now we're into this. This is the new year. It has much more open energy in relation to Pluto. And that sort of set the stage for a lot of other changes to happen. So that was one really important, you know, thing. And what else you said that really caught my ear was how souls have been working stuff out. And you mentioned that word entanglement. Oh yeah. You know, that's part of the quantum language. And so we have um, anyone who's been following our new and full moon things for a couple of months now, I've been talking about breaking agreements and how important it has been to be doing that. And we're still in a phase where we're still refining those agreements or entanglements that are no longer supporting us in our highest good, good for the collective. This can be on the ancestral level, your karmic past life level, your and the collective level too. We have these agreements, like you've often talked about. We all agree the sky is blue, so we see it as blue. Well, that's a collective agreement, we could say, but there are other ones too that are darker that we are, you know, cutting the cord with.
Mhm.
So we're still doing some of that on a one-to-one basis, but that's about to shift. And I think, you know, I want to both talk about the December 30th new moon, which is like just the day 2 days before the new year. So it's the new year, new moon. And
Mhm.
it's going to say a lot about our new year. But also, I want to move on from there in a sense and kind of give an overview of the year with some of the major moments because there are so many big things happening. I mean, haven't there been a lot of big things happening? But from an astrological point of view, we have more big things coming this year that are also going to change the energy quite a bit and probably, you know, kind of demonstrate what you just said about timelines shifting quite a bit more,
Mhm.
you know, before we're done. And it basically, it's kind of like a 2 year window. Astrologically, 2025 and 2026, we're experiencing another shift, a transition
Mhm.
of two more major planets. So that's, you know, part of what's going on here. So
So
let
can
me
I
start.
say something before you start the pictures? So
Yes.
2025 and 2026 are the last, that's the last part of the opening or the window of when people will decide whether they want to ascend in their body or not. So they've seen all the negative stuff, and now
Mm.
they're going to begin to see the positive stuff, and they'll get to decide whether they want to go forward in their body or they want to ascend without their body. So it makes sense that those 2 years are linked. So I'm excited to hear about this.
Yes, yes, you know, that when we have major like Pluto with a long, you know, whenever it changes signs, some people say, well, I didn't sign up for this 20-year cycle. And there are two more planets like that that people are gonna, well, I didn't sign up for this one. You know, it's like, okay, I can't do this. So yes, that tends to happen at these major planets shifting sign. So choices being made.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share my screen. Let's see. Okay, where are we? This one. Okay, let me um, get rid of those. Is that true? Oh, well. Oh, well. I'm only so together today. My computer almost didn't start this morning. So, so anyway, I only have a few slides and I want to kind of zero in. So here's a beginning picture of this new moon. And so here it is, the new moon. The sun and the moon are together in Capricorn. Now, one of the interesting things about the way this year starts, and this year starts kind of slow, but then it starts ramping up. And it is a 9 year, 2025 adds up to nine. And for the first several months, all of the new moons are at 9 degrees, which is really interesting. It's reinforcing the number nine. And this is in Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign, and it's like, it's part of our kind of on the ground experience and how it's organized. So, part of this starting out this new year is to kind of get yourself organized, get yourself set up, and part of that is envisioning, even like your New Year's resolutions, if you do that, or maybe where you want to be by the end of this year. But it's also just about, kind of being in the moment, getting straight with what's going on and what's happening, and get yourself set up, whatever that might mean to you, and grounded. So yeah, it's like, where am I at? Is a good question. So I'm showing these red lines. Now the red lines, when I use them, they are 90-degree angles. And sometimes they are planets that are opposite each other, creating the polarity of our experience. So we're balancing both sides. So these are the 90-degree angles that are activations. A lot of people who study astrology, we call these squares because they're like 90-degree angles that make squares. And some people are like, ooh, squares, conflict and challenge, And yes, it can be, but it's also a kind of call to step up and deal with this, work with this. This energy is activated. These dynamics that are in square together, they are like activation. They're inviting you to kind of do something with this energy. It's active. So we've got this new moon, first of all, activated with the nodes of the moon. These little horseshoe points are where the path of the moon crosses the path of the sun in the sky, and we see eclipses. It's when the sun and the moon and the earth are lined up so that we experience eclipses. And we only have 2 eclipse seasons a year, and we're not in one right now. So, but we also call them the dragon head and the dragon tail. And the dragon tail is where we're coming from, the easy way out, the natural thing, or not natural, but the fallback position. And the north node, the dragon head, we want to be riding a dragon on the head, not the tail. This is our leading edge of our direction in collective consciousness right now. So we're moving away from agreeing with everything, accommodating other people. This is what you were talking about with some of the stuff of our entanglement with other people and kind of straightening that out. And we have the black moon there. So the black moon is going deep into soul connections and even soul agreements. And in terms of the divine feminine, she's, one of the deeper, therefore darker, kind of energies. It's very transformative. And the black moon can be very negative if we aren't really tapping into our soul expression rather than our ego expression. A lot of times we face the world with the false self of our ego, and we identify with that. We're taught to identify with that, but we've been really being urged to tap into this deeper place in ourself that is soul essence. And that's the only way we can get to 5D anyway. So there are deep soul connections that are coming back together, both in a oh I've known you forever kind of feeling, and also the a kind of feeling oh we can't leave it where we left it last time feeling. So there's certain dynamics that have been going on along that line, but we're seeking our own relationship with our soul energy and living from there. So that's part of what is coming in, and we can take it up here, which is Aries. Libra is a partnership sign, a relational sign. And we have, all our relations and relationships, what's that word, being in right relationship. So
Healthy,
this is the yes,
healthy relationships.
healthy, soul connected.
Hmm.
Even if we're not soul connected, can we get there? you know because that's going to be a truer relationship. And so the north node in Aries is standing in your center. Here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm doing. Here's who I am, and getting clear, really crystal clear with yourself. And what we have connected to the dragon head is Salacia. She's the mermaid who is the queen of the sea, and she makes the sunlight sparkle on the sea. And so if we looked at that at a different sort of quantum level, this is all the plasma, the fluid plasma, the light in the water, the intelligence of the water, communicating with us and bringing in these waves of light, cosmic waves of light. So she's like, and she's at 9 degrees. This new moon's at 9 degrees. She's right here. She is coming through, this new moon on this new year. So she's a big player in this year. And I think that's so hopeful and delightful. And it's like lit up. It's like, well, fairy dust, but it's more like, the cosmic light photons bringing more light into our whole system and into our consciousness and helping to raise that. But yes, it's a little hard on our bodies to recalibrate, the energy that's been coming through. And I've been talking about this for years now, the light coming in, but I love that Salacia gives a certain um, image to welcome that, kind of thought. And I do want to point out that this is the planet Neptune, and it's just about finishing its 14-year phase in the sign of Pisces, and Neptune is the god of the sea. It's in Pisces, which is the sign of the sea, and it's this cusp here, this interface between Pisces and Aries is incredibly active this year. There is so much energy with the moving from Pisces to Aries. And whenever anything goes from Pisces into Aries, we have a sapien symbol that describes it. And it is a woman rises from the sea, embraced by a seal. So it's this, well, that evokes the Selkie stories of Irish and Celtic legend, but it's also representing something that, we are all an individual drop of the cosmic sea. And this year is a lot about clarifying our drop, and how we are a part of the sea, but we have our own glitter, we have our own light, and we need to be expressing that more. So we are invited.
Mm.
So that's one of the very strong dynamics here. When we have a new moon, making this pattern with the destiny line, this is a shift in the collective destiny. And Capricorn says nobody's going to miss it. We are actually going to be experiencing this in our, daily world. So let's celebrate that. And
Mhm.
we don't have Pluto and Capricorn anymore. Those old systems are just dissolving in the water and relentlessness of the water capability to just wear away stone. It's like sculpting. A sculptor like takes away the stone that then can reveal the shape, reveal the sculpture, reveal the image. So
Mm.
we're sculpting away here. So another pattern that I want to share is this one, having to do with what you were talking about. Well, the volatility that we're experiencing right now. So here's Pluto in Aquarius. There it is, going to be in Aquarius for 20 years. So this is a new 20-year phase that takes us like to 2044. So, wow, that's a little hard to think about, but I remember when it was hard to think about the year 2000. So, it's going to come along. So, what Pluto is doing, it's been in a long-term square. We're back to squares again. I tend to focus on squares because this is the activated energy. This is what we need to be aware of and work with right now, or play with right now, or create with right now. And how Maya is a creator goddess. She's the childbirth goddess in Hawaii, and she gives birth to all of life from a quantum level, which is on the etheric. So ether is the fifth element, out of which all the four physical elements, earth, air, fire, and water, emerge. So ether is where, in Buddhism, they talk about the physical ether and the non-physical ether. So this is part of the quantum consciousness of the creator deities that have been emerging in our collective consciousness since 2000, with the discovery of all these new energies. In the Pluto's the first one, but Pluto and beyond. So Haumea is one of those ones beyond. And so these creator deities can see what's potential in the non-physical ether, and then intend the manifestation and bring it into physicality. So Haumea and Pluto, as Pluto is like stripping away all that's no longer life-giving and vital, kind of just taking down the old structures. Haumea's going, oh, this would be good. Let's bring this forward. Let's birth this. So while, the waves going out, taking away all the sandcastles that we don't need anymore, Haumea has been a wave coming in with the new energy and the new passion in Scorpio. Now, Pluto has been changing sign for the last couple of years since the middle of 2023, and now it's in Aquarius. Same thing with Haumea. It was in Libra, and now it's in Scorpio. So they're working together in this renewal, regeneration, rebirthing, and Haumea is from a deep, passionate place, is bringing forward what is regenerative. And this is that capacity to regenerate the earth, regenerate the soil, regenerate the waters. This is an incredibly regenerative energy that's bringing forward, birthing something new. It's never been here before. So she is very powerful, and just I just love the fact that these two have been working together for the last number of years. And that's why I like squares. They're working together, and they're not just going along. They're working together. They're making something happen. They're inviting us into this creative dynamic. But we can't go down the negative, which is into fear or anxiety or looking for the what could be the worst that could happen. No, we can't go there. And that is part of this dynamic between Pluto and Mars, which is very volatile. And when we get those two together and they're active together opposite each other, it's like some forces that be are, and some areas within our own consciousness or emotionality are afraid, are fearing. We don't want to go to new places. We, who knows what could happen? It could be terrible. So this would be the negative timeline energy that we can't go there. And so Mars is retrograde, which means it looks like it's going backwards. And retrograde planets internalize the energy, and Mars doesn't especially like to be internalized because it's an action planet. But it's been, since December 6th, Mars has been retrograde and saying, rein in the horses, whoa, here, and to take your energy in and work with Haumea to say, what is it I really want to be experiencing? What do I deeply desire to be doing? So that we're not just reacting, but we're getting to a deeper place in ourselves that has this Leo creator energy that can have fun, really enjoy what we're doing. And if you're not enjoying it, Pluto says, don't do it anymore. If you don't like hanging out with those people, don't hang out with them anymore. So there's a deep internalizing that started in early December and that is going to continue well into February and still be something that we're feeling our way into, even into May, April and May. So this Mars energy is like, just stay as still as you can and tap into that deep place and let your activity come from there. And with Varuna, who's the ancient Vedic god of cosmic order and universal law, is everything I am doing righteous? Is it in right relationship with everything else, which is what we talked about? Am I in right relationship with my own soul essence in what I'm doing in my life? So this is a very strong pattern that is activated on and off for the next couple of months, even into March and April. So any comments, any amplification on that, honey?
Well, that feels like a really like disclosure is happening, right? But
Oh, mm,
to me, that feels like those disclosures are going to be really big as we go forward. And the
hmm
relationship that we have with ourselves and with others is going to become more sovereign, more
mm,
honest, more kind, and also more authentic, which sometimes being authentic doesn't feel kind, but people will start to understand that being yourself, and we're all growing and changing right now, but
mm,
being yourself is really important because you need people to see you for who you are. That is how we're going to go forward, is with no veil. So I think the veil is being basically taken down over those months. That's what it feels like to me. And people will have a choice for change.
yes. Well, Libra is the planet of choice, and the Black Moon is saying choose from your soul.
Yeah.
But also the veil. If we're going to translate that word veil into astrology, we're looking at Neptune.
Mm,
And so what's happening in March is that Neptune goes into Aries. March is like such a month. And the other slide that I want to show you is just a kind of planetary summary of some of the major planetary shifts that we're experiencing this year. And I just did a whole 2 hour presentation on that the other day, looking at all the lunar lunations through the whole year. And that's available. If anybody wants it and you want it sooner than later, you can email me, Kelley@heliostar.com, to get this planetary summary. So basically, here's the Mars retrograde that I was just talking about. And it started out in Leo, which is to me one of the primary signs of sovereignty and creative expression. But most of the time, it's going to be in the sign of Cancer, which is about really examining what is going to foster my growth. And this is about growth. This is, Cancer is like, is it going to be okay? And it's like, just calm down about all that and find that calm inside yourself. If you're getting, kind of frayed by all the chaos outside, there's going to be a level of anxiety. And this is about pulling inside and finding your own calm, your own comfort level, your own pace, so that you're growing at your own rate. Cancer is a kind of slow sign. It's like you're going into the water and you're not sure of the temperature, and you kind of got to feel it out before you totally dive in. And that's kind of what this Mars, when it's retrograding Cancer, starting starting in January, it's going right back into Cancer, and it's going to spend months there to kind of first retrograde, just internalizing what is feeling right to me, and tapping into what do I need now, what feels good. It's okay to do this. I can do this. I don't have to, I can say yes, I don't have to say no. And more about in conscious intentional choices rather than just reactive. So when we get to April, Venus goes retrograde. I'm sorry, March into April. Venus goes retrograde, which is very much about reevaluating. And it goes retrograde in Aries. Mercury, 2 weeks later, goes retrograde in Aries at the same place. And at the end, we have eclipses in, did I say April again? I meant March. But they retrograde back into Pisces, and that goes into April. So March and April. Let's just say March and April. Venus is reevaluating, and starts in Aries. So it is like, is this is this is this inspiring me? Is this it for me? Is this what I want? Is this what I'm, is this how am I feeling? Like, how am I clarifying my feelings out of the mess of everything else, back to the clarifying the drop that you are in the cosmic sea? And Mercury doing the same thing at the same time. There's a lot of pulling back and going like, what is happening? And what does this mean to me? Because Aries is a lot of newness, and Neptune goes into Aries. Neptune takes 165 years to go through all the signs, and it is changing into Aries. Newness. That's what you were saying about, I forget the comment you were making at the beginning, but this was that newness. We aren't going back anymore after that. And this is part of the window of choice. And this is part of what's going on in the spring that is really changing the whole tone. We have this Pisces Aries that can come from the veil of illusion and confusion. And I'm not sure what's going on. It can be like fog, but there's Aries. The rainbow has come out. The water is sparkling again, and so this is happening on multiple levels, both the personal, which is the Venus and the Mercury, and then the collective, the Neptune, the collective dream and vision. So this is definitely pulling the veil back. And then we've got one of the very exciting archangels of Tolkien's creation story, Manwe, whose mind is closest to the creator. And Manwë is right at the beginning of Aries as well, bringing back the original blueprints in the mind of the creator, the vision of the creator. So this is beautiful energy.
Mm-hmm.
But and we have eclipses along the way. We have 2 total lunar eclipses this year. So, speaking of eclipses, the energy is tapping back to the April 8th eclipse we had, a total solar eclipse. It was very powerful and a kind of critical turning point in our consciousness. And Chiron, the teacher healer that wants to align the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. So synchronicity strikes again, where Chiron has returned to where it was, exactly infusing that eclipse with this new energy that we're needing to move into even more, like soak it in, like vibrate with it, feel our energy crystals like just radiating light from the inside out. And I think that might be some of the sensations people are having without even knowing what that is. What is this vibration I'm feeling? What is this
Mm-hmm.
newness that I'm feeling? So Jupiter changes sign. Jupiter spends a whole year in a sign and it's going into Cancer right after we have reworked our sensitivity and our comfort level and our need for growth. Jupiter says, okay, let's flourish. And it goes into Cancer in June. And this is going to be like benevolence and growth and fertility and oh, it's going to feel so good. And then we have Saturn going into Aries also, doing that same Pisces Aries thing with Neptune. So when we get Saturn and Neptune together, and I know I'm getting pretty into astrology here. So you following me okay, honey?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So just remember the coming out of the sea and into our sovereignty, into our self-clarity, and the drop of the ocean that we are. So we are radiating our particular light. And so many planets are speaking to that, the Venus and the Mercury and the Neptune and the Saturn. But Saturn is about what's happening, what we are experiencing. And we are experiencing what we're envisioning. We are experiencing, because Saturn's with Neptune. This is the manifestation of the dream. This is the experience of whatever it is you're envisioning. So clarify your vision, into the light. And it's still working with any of those little like entangled areas or like messy areas or where we get confused or where we're not sure. So a lot of that is this whole shift that goes on from into March into April. And then we've done so much work by June. And then in July, the planet Uranus, the change agent, the revolutionary, the awakening planet, changes sign also. It has an 84-year orbit and it's changing for the first time since 2018. So, and it's going into Gemini, which is like anything is possible. This is Neptune changing and Uranus changing the same year. And they go into a new sign, they go back in the fall. And then in 2016, they go back into their new sign. So this is why 2025 and 2026 are, a transition time frame here. Pluto already made its change. That was major. And now there's 2 new energy shifts. And this is part of what their back and forth is definitely suggesting timeline shifting, consciousness shifting. Some people are going to be, on the leading edge of that. Some people are going to, have more resistance to work through, more confusion to work through, more cognitive dissonance to work through.
Mm,
And, by into 2026, we're all there or we're not.
yeah. Yeah, by the end of 2026, we're really in it. Like, um, a lot of change is coming, massive change. And you can see it, it's all indicated in the world. But it's also because we've done so much work, and all the Schumann resonance has done so much work to change the resonance of us. So I want to bring up a few things that, I don't think people necessarily create like a list. So we've had our kidneys change location in the body. They've gone from being right above the hip bones and now being within the cage of the rib cage. We've had our heart move from slightly left to the middle of the chest. So we've had those things happen. Our bodies are obviously changing. We've had multiple indications of timeline shifts. So some of them that stick out to me are like the guy from Publishers Clearinghouse. Now my mind is gone. What his name
Ed
was?
McMahon.
Yeah, Ed McMahon. So supposedly he never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. I just saw a clip the other day of the Golden Girls, and they're like, Ed McMahon's calling. We just won Publishers Clearinghouse. So obviously timelines have shifted. And Jimmy Carter, that was another one. And there's been multiple. That guy with the crazy curly hair who was always in short shorts doing the exercises. Names are
And
really
even
not.
having personal ones too.
Yeah,
Like,
personal.
yes, like my water bottle disappeared or something.
Yeah, I've gotten packages twice. I've not gotten packages. I've had things disappear and then all of a sudden they show up. So
Yes.
timeline shifting is a real thing. And we have to remember that we're in the quantum. We think that we're on Earth on this planet and it's very static. It's not static at all. Change
Mm.
is what is happening. And we're learning constantly.
Mm. Well,
So,
if we want to change the manifestation of our experience,
mhm,
so that's kind of Taurus, physicality, hard stuff. We go into the Scorpio realm of the subatomic particles. And
mm,
this is alchemy. This is where we can rearrange those particles. And that's what we're being asked to do with this Mars retrograde. Go deep inside and rearrange our own feelings, our tuning in, what it is we want, what we need, what is best for us. We're going and we're rearranging the molecules and the particles and taking away some electrons and putting new ones in. We're
mm.
untangling those, what we were talking about before, the entanglement. We're undoing those knots to
Yeah,
make the area much more smooth. Mm.
we totally are. And that's going to show up in the world because our consciousness drives our own life and then it drives the world. So there's what's called the double slit
Mm.
experiment, I think. And then also Dolores Cannon brought it up. But when you're not home, if you lived in the middle of the woods and nobody else could see your house, when you're not home, does your house actually exist? So think about that because you create your own reality, everything out in front of you. and it has little pieces of your energy. So, like this trailer is something I manifested so that I could have an office. And we do that for ourselves,
Mm.
and we're
Yeah, the
doing it
double
on a
slit
collective.
that double slit is, it's taking light and showing that light is both a wave and comes through as particles.
Mhm.
So the wave is, all of the potential and possibility, but when we put our mind to it, then we make it into a particle, which comes into reality. But we can also, kind of, and so that would also be another way to think about this multiple planetary shifting from Pisces, which is the wave, to Aries, which is the drop in the ocean, the particle in the wave that's going to create manifestation. And it's going to be brand new.
Mhm. It will be brand new. And it was really cool. I don't remember which planet it was, but you said that one of the planets is switching from the 1790s was the last time that it switched,
Pluto,
and
Pluto.
Pluto. So that's when this big reality that we're in now was created. So remembering that, and that we're switching out of this reality, this matrix is basically disintegrating and being reformed, just like our bodies. Our bodies are being reformed, they're shifting, and everything is light and sound.
Yes.
So, remembering that, and that your body is just light, slowed down,
Yes.
and it's slowed down so that you can actually see it, because we see a small portion of the light spectrum.
Hmm.
So, things are getting really fun,
Hmm.
and start looking forward to the future and
Yes.
letting go of the past, of the things that we no longer want, because we've worked through a lot of horribly painful things over these years, and even in the last month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And, you know, I'm on the older spectrum, so I've got more past to remember.
Mm,
So, or to forget. And that's why sometimes if I forget things, that's fine. I don't need to know that anymore. I don't need to remember that and be reconstituting that
mhm,
anymore in my life. So it's just let the waters wash it away and come to that light, that sound and light frequency that is the new. And isn't it, also Aries has to do with the brain. Aries rules the brain, rules the head. So our neural pathways are reconfiguring,
mhm,
and new ones are growing, and new ones, they're connecting up in ways that brain science is talking about. And so this is also going to bring forward what you've been talking about for a while, remembering and reconstituting some of the our abilities that we haven't used in quite a while.
mhm. Well, and if you think about it, the mind has been what's been holding things back, the programming of the mind. And the Schumann resonance is the energy from the universe that's coming through to make change. And we were going to have that hit all at once. And so I'm so grateful that that shifted as a
Mhm.
timeline, because we would have just been in bed for weeks and weeks, letting our bodies change. It would have been really rough. And I don't think nearly as many people would be here. So I personally am very grateful
Mm.
that we didn't go through it in that way, and that that timeline shifted.
I think, if people are still talking about the solar flash, but I don't think they just mean solar flash. I think it's another level of something coming through. But
Yeah.
I think whenever that happens or is happening, that I think the March April timeframe is certainly a precursor of perhaps a bigger download, but the March, April is definitely powerful.
Right. I feel like the awareness is going to get really big, and we may have something that shows us that either, like, a lot of people have been talking about flat earth. That's
Mhm,
been brought up a lot,
mhm,
and we're going to realize we are not where we thought we were. And it won't just be the people that are awake and aware. It will be something that goes out to the world, whether it's through the ETs, whether it's, whatever event the universe wants to bring to us.
mhm.
I feel like we are going to see something that's rather large in intensity, but not painful necessarily. And for us that have been aware, we'll probably be like, awesome, we'll feel like it's fantastic. Whereas people that are just beginning to awaken, they may be in shock from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be their wake,
Yeah.
because it's going to be that big,
Mhm.
whether it's, kind of the difference in our history, whatever. There's so many things that could be,
Yeah.
that are hitting the mainstream slowly, slowly.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah. And I think that is going to speed up, just like you said, because it's
yes.
time. It's time now. We've gone through a lot of clearing, and I was really impatient about clearing stuff in the past. I was like, can we just get on with it and start projects and, have people have their money and have everything be more sovereign right now, you know? But as I've learned how our energy really is what's driving everything, and how we need to clean it up and the souls need to clean it up,
Yes.
then, I've definitely relaxed about timing.
Oh, that's really good.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what you were saying about cleaning up our energy, that's another way to to talk about that Mars retrograde. We're cleaning up our energy,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And Kelley is still doing readings, so
Mm,
that that. And I would just want to mention In Healing with Honey, and it's not out yet, but it will be out today or tomorrow. I've just done a big shadow clearing for people. So
mm,
that is part of what's really happening, is all these shadows or traumas or traumatic parallel lives are basically needing to be transmuted now. And if you're feeling really stressed, then you may have a shadow that's bothering you and asking you to go home, you
Yeah,
know.
astrologically, that's Pluto that can be the collective dark,
Hmm.
kind of in your face with your Mars and interfering with your energy.
Yep.
And that's when the volatility and the reactivity and the triggering comes up. And that's a good, like, oh, shadow's coming at me.
Yeah. And a lot of times we're getting that push from the universe. Okay, let's clear another wave of shadows.
Yeah.
So it's a big time, you guys. It's so much bigger than I ever thought it would be, but our minds are expanding too. So we're understanding more and more about it, what ascension actually is. And it's beautiful. And
Mm.
once you realize how beautiful it is, then you're excited. I remember when I was like 3 and I was like, oh, why am I here? I just want to go home. That's what I was thinking as a little kid. And probably up into my like late 20s, I was always thinking that. Can I just go home now? This sucks. And I think now we're realizing what home actually is. So,
Mm.
yeah, and you're more willing to go through this process and do this project of ascending humanity. because you know where home actually is, and you know you can go whenever you want. And you go home every night. So just that kind of thing I think is worth mentioning.
Home is where the heart is.
Yes.
And then as our higher minds are opening up, they're connecting with the heart intelligence more. So there really is this homing in to
Yeah.
who we are.
Hmm. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Kelley. I just love this. This was really brilliant. And thank you for the summary at the end. And Kelley has a Substack, and also her email is below if you want to make an appointment. I think her website is below as well. So
Yes.
awesome.
Well, welcoming and wishing everybody a joyous new year. And
Hmm.
it's the heaviness is lifting. And
Yeah.
can we all feel it? It's like the inner bells are ringing.
Oh, they are. And just imagining and feeling what you want to experience in the new
Yes.
year and embodying that is really good. And then just release all those feelings off to the universe and let them
Yeah.
materialize for you in whatever way is in your highest good.
Anything is possible. Our belief systems are going to be stretched beyond what we ever thought was possible. Go there.
Yes. Go there. Love it. Thank you, Kelley. Bye, everybody. Love you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.